Hi, welcome back to my garden. I'm Helen Mutembu and I discuss all things homesteading, homemaking, and homeschooling. Today we're going to discuss why it is good to have flowers in your garden and focus on a permaculture approach, even if you're growing in containers like me. So I'm going to show you some of the flowers that I'm growing. Let's get into it. So this is a beautiful flower that I'm growing. Well, it is actually it's classified as a grain. So these are the flowers. It is called Amaranth, and this particular variety is Love Lies Bleeding. So this is supposed to be the love. It is beautiful. It attracts a lot of bees into the garden. Look at this. Look how long this is. And so it is growing. It is about it's about 1.5 or so meters tall. It is growing very well, and the leaves are used in the kitchen. So we cook the leaves the same way we cook spinach. We do not buy spinach anymore, and I don't even grow spinach actually. I prefer to grow this amaranth. So this is a beautiful plant to have, and it brings beautiful flowers into the garden, which I'll explain just now, the importance of having these flowers and in our growing inside our garden. And this is another flower that I grow in the garden. This is marigold. Really pretty. And I grow this amongst all of my plants. They're very easy to grow. They germinate very quickly and they pop a lot of flowers. Although I do notice that the birds seem to be trying to eat my flowers like every day. So I'm fighting with the birds. So yeah. Aside from the birds, they grow very well and you really have no problem. They'll self-seed, they'll drop their seeds and plants grow some more. So they're good for the garden. So let's get into why, even if you have containers, it's good for you to have some flowers in your garden. So now let's get into why it's important to grow flowers in your garden. So my approach to gardening is the permaculture approach. I love the permaculture concepts because it speaks to me and it is also a lot less work. And one of the main parts of permaculture is understanding that you're growing with nature. You're not growing against nature, you're not forcing things. You really are aligning all your planning and all your activities and the way you lay out your garden. So the design part of your garden, the layout, everything is keeping your garden natural, keeping it the way it would look like in nature, let's say in a forest or in the wild, and working with nature, therefore with the seasons, the climates, and everything. So I grow my container garden here with using permaculture concepts. And one of the most important parts of permaculture is that flowers are included in the garden as they would be in the wild. And so the first main thing is that flowers will attract bees. I'm specific to bees because they are our greatest pollinators, and then the butterflies. But there are many beneficial, we call them beneficial insects because they benefit the garden. And so bees, butterflies, and a lot others are attracted to the garden because of the flowers. That helps with pollination, but that also gives a good balance in your garden. So the first thing is they attract the pollinators, especially the bees. The second thing is you can put flowers in your garden that also are that are also edible. So edible and medicinal. So that's another two really great things to have is flowers that you can eat and flowers that you can use to make your own medicine. And if you're on the path like myself that focuses on using the garden not just for food but for medicine and health and healing, then that's a great thing to have. Some of the flowers that you can use for that are edible, but you can also use the rest of the plants and the flower for medicine is borage and nasturtium. I don't have any growing this year. We had a severe heat wave this summer and the borage that I started just couldn't cope. Even the nasturtium, which is usually quite hardy, just couldn't cope. So I don't have those. However, it is getting much cooler now, so I'm going to be planting those. What I did notice is last year my borage was doing very well through winter, surprisingly. So that will be my goal this year. The next thing is plants that have flowers or just growing flowers, it adds color to your garden, it adds beauty, and that's nature. Nature's balance. Nature has that awesome balance of green plants, brownish plants, reddish plants, orange plants, flowering plants, tall bushy flowers, shrubs. So there's that element of nature which brings beauty, color, and such a range of color into your garden. Even though you're growing mainly produce to eat, so green looking stuff, but how beautiful is it to have this color popping in between your garden? And that's what I love about my garden. And the last point is, as there are more beneficial insects coming into your garden, they also help with curbing disease in your garden. So when I'm saying disease, I'm speaking mainly about things like aphids that bring disease to your plants. So your ladybugs would feed off the larva of the aphids, therefore bringing that into check, right? Your lizards and geckos would eat an overflow of the same aphids or even spiders, yet the spiders themselves will also have their webs in your garden and would be catching the unnecessary extra insects that are flying about. So these these other little creatures will come into your garden to balance things out. So as much as the flowers are attracting, if there's an overflow of anything, the garden creatures will balance things out and keep that balance. We have a lot of geckos running around the garden, and I always teach my kids, always take care of the geckos, because they keep the garden balanced. Excess of flies or whatever, they are the ones that will take care of that. So those are my top tips on why you should grow flowers in your garden, and therefore keeping that permaculture concept of having flowers because it's one with nature, and knowing that the beneficial insects will come. You can grow edible and medicinal flowers. Your garden will have a lot of color and beauty. And then lastly, the extra insects will come to balance things out. And so do let me know in the comments below what flowers you're growing, why you're growing them, and how they benefit your garden. And I can also add some of your flowers into my garden, because right now I only have amaranth, sunflowers, and marigolds. I don't have any other flowers growing. I did try and seed echinacea, and there was no germination, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. So just let me know what you're growing in your garden and how it's benefiting your garden. So until the next video, take care. Bye.